So, if I look a bit rough, I apologize for that. It is almost 7 in the morning. I'm up and I've found some old items, some older things that I want to share with you guys, definitely here on this channel. And this is going through, some rewards, old report cards that are very old from the 70s, 80s, 90s. I found one of my own report cards back, here. Not all of my reports and stuff are in here, and a lot of these, are not mine. A lot of these were, my uncles, my sisters, stuff, and something I just really want to share with you guys, the viewers. Sadly, a lot of my rewards, certificates, report cards, they were not saved. A lot of them, my mother, did get rid of, even my rewards. And as, for those that have been, subscribed for the channel for quite a long time, then a lot of you know the history and the breakdown that I ended up having on camera when I was making, I think it's at least two, I believe, the three main videos talking about, how I ended up finding out about my fake diploma and how I ended up receiving that. So for those that see this video, in particularly, I'm going to leave either down in the description below or two end screen link videos, if I remember, at least linking the two main videos talking about, how I ended up with a fake diploma, how I found out I got the fake diploma, and then followed up by, more proof showing, some things that I did find, like, were these grades, actually earned, or were they given to me because of me being born with learning disabilities and being on the No Child Left Behind Act. And again, I will link those two main videos, the two main ones out of that topic discussion, so you guys can get a good general idea and the full story. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Now, there would be some things I would like to share, but I'm not ready to share it, and I don't know if I ever will share it. There are reports, mail, letters, things have been typed and laminated when it comes to, being a family member of somebody who got murdered by a famous serial killer. My Aunt Patricia, we used to call her Pumpkin, and, she's the one that named me when my mother was giving birth to me. My mother was out of it, so, she was knocked out. And for those that might be familiar with, the Green Lake River killer, she was his, last victim. And, this guy, wrote letters and everything when it came to him getting sentenced, trialed, busted and everything like that. And I actually have, those letters and documents, but, I don't think that's something that I'm ever going to share, on screen. So we're not even going to do that. So what I would like to show you guys is, what real Canadian money looked like, back then. Now, I don't know if Canadian money still looks like this. This is my mother's that came from her mom, who, I never got a chance to meet, unfortunately, who ended up passing due to high blood pressure, the silent killer and everything. And of course, this is $1. And for those that follow, a lot of the YouTubers, of today, right? They talk about, how, American money, is worth more in Canada than Canada's money. This right here is my kindergarten McDowell Elementary School report card right here. I always enjoyed this school. Now, I ended up going to several elementary schools. I forget the reason why. Mainly learning disabilities is one, and I guess you could say, quote unquote, outside, zoning, right? But McDowell was a very good school, very wealthy school at the time. Now, not so much because of the management that, it's definitely been under for, quite a while. And I can tell you guys, one of the biggest fundraisers that they had was to redo the school back in the day. And now a lot of that stuff is gone. A lot of that stuff, is definitely gone. If I would have continued going to McDowell, back then, McDowell went up to, I think, 6th grade, believe it or not, back then. Ended up going to Riverside, which, it sucks. I don't even know where none of my Riverside report cards are. This one's from 98 to 1999. I would have been in the 1st grade by then, but I got held back due to learning disabilities. And back then, they weren't quite familiar of learning disabilities back then. There weren't, much studies back then on, stuff like that, at all. There weren't much studies on it. There really was no such thing as, quote unquote special ed classes then. A lot of that, really didn't come into play, I guess you can say, till, definitely the early 2000s, but, I think I've done a video really exposing that type of shit. Like, they didn't really teach us. And I will say, for those that always heard, the rumors like, oh, they don't teach, they play around in there, they party. It's true. It's 100% true, and they just pass us on just to pass us on. And you guys got to remember my age, like, right now. Like, I'm, 31 years old, so that was decades ago. Now, this right here is my sister's school years. Now, back when she was in middle school, what I'm about to show you was their yearbooks. It's nothing like today. It's nothing like today. So, this is what it would look like right here. So, what it would look like. You would have this. This is the back, right? So you would have school years and everything, and what she looked like way back then. And this is from the first day of school, 1983, right there. That's what the middle school yearbooks would be, just for that individual, student. And what they would get, a lot of these papers are shaped like, individual baggies. And you gotta remember, this is really super old. Like, really super old. So, what they would have, definitely in here, is when you would get little rewards. I had a lot of ribbons like this. Again, my mother threw mine away. One day, I will get into the story of just like, the reasons why I ended up moving, why I'll be moving. and why, a lot of my shit, was thrown out. I had trophies when it came to doing races, believe it or not. Trophies when it came to doing, making things out of wood, sculpting, art. One day I will open up about that, and it will be a very long video, but it will be definitely needed, and it's going to be covering quite a few of things. I guarantee it. It will be. My yearbooks, sadly, my mother threw out my yearbooks from Riverside McDowell. I still got from Brown School, yearbooks that are packed away. I have no middle school yearbooks. My mother, never wanted to buy them. If I were to choose one yearbook, it would be me within the 7th grade in 8th grade year. So 2, but, can't do that now. I have no high school yearbooks. It just wasn't my thing. I only got my senior one. That's really it. So I would say I got like 3 to 4 elementary yearbooks and 1 high school yearbook. Yeah. This right here, and this is something they don't even do anymore in schools, with what I'm about to show you guys, is the art achievement rewards when it comes to definitely, my sister got quite a few of these to where a lot of her art got shipped off, and she ended up going to college for art. She didn't complete it though, but she ended up going. Schools, don't do this anymore. They do not. I didn't get out of high school, 09, 010, right? So when I was in school, and, I'm an artist, like I do sketchings and drawings, things like out of that nature. And something that I am working on, if for those that are, curious, my own little side project, right? I do pack away a lot of my art stuff up. And, I never had a class. I never was taught. I was self-taught. And some could say, I was a Mary Sue back then and even now, because at my age, in the grades that I was in, it's like, you shouldn't be this talented at all. Like, you trace this or you had somebody do it for you. No. And I was heavily judged and criticized for doing art. I do have a picture where I won first place in an art competition in the talent show. Now, I don't know what happened to that individual picture. I do believe, again, my mother may have thrown that out and everything like that. But I can guarantee you, in the town that I stay at, it's known as the Artist District, but that's full of shit. I talk about that on my ChEDDErTarY, the Woke Truth channel, because doing art down here in the town that I stay at, in the state that I stay at, which is Tennessee, it is considered a sin or taboo just to be doing art. And I hate digital art. I am against digital art. To me, digital art's no more than photoshopping. That's all it is. That's all that it is. When I was in 10th grade and going into my senior year, because I never went to the 11th grade. And again, I'm going to be linking those 2 videos talking about, how I got to skip the 11th. I really go into deep detail about that. But, I took art class 10th grade just to have something to do. Again, I had some people that were fucking jealous of me, and I had some people that really liked my art, and I passed that class with a B+. Definitely with a B+. Also back then, when I got into the 12th grade, I took art again for 12th graders just to have something to do, because I was put in study hall at first. I did not like that. Whenever I get put in a study hall, it would cause flashbacks to PTSD. What do I mean by that? When I got took out of a class in 7th grade and put into a class for troubled individual youth with learning disabilities, they came to us and said, your parents signed you up for this. Come to find out, that was actually false. It was a lie. And I stayed in that fucking class for a year. I was the first one out because I'd done it because I wanted to see somebody again who was my very first girlfriend. And I tried to do a love story here on this channel, but I understand a lot of things had to be sugar-coated and things had to be changed due to information-wise. But by the time I got out, she ended up moving. She ended up getting into trouble. And ever since then, when the study hall came up to be signed to a class, it really caused bad PTSD for me. Like, I just wanted out. And then it's like, well, why did you flip out? I never told the story to those teachers. Why? It just really, and it just wasn't because I was took away from somebody who I fell in love with. No, we went through abuse, literally abuse behind closed doors in that class. And they put us in the abandoned part of the school. Yes, in middle school and in high school, there are abandoned parts of the schools. I don't know about anymore, but back then there was. Next, what I'm about to show you guys here is my 5th grade elementary diploma from 2004. This year, I remember this day, right? I got pictures. I don't care for my pictures from the early 2000s because I was really obese. I did not look good. I was in the worst of shape, the worst of health. I hated it. And I want to fucking burn those pictures, but my mother won't let me. But I'll say this much, about this day. When we all graduate from elementary school back then, I don't know if they still do that now. But back then, you would get these medals with an open book on it. And I remember, the kids that were in the class when we came back and the parents. Everybody got one except for me, right? And I couldn't figure out, why didn't I not get my diploma, right, for 5th grade? Why did I not get a medal? Why was I not, really called up? It's because my 5th grade teacher, Miss George, who's been retired now for quite some time, and not only did she teach school, but she also taught women's basketball college as well. And she presented me not just with this diploma certificate, but the medal inside a black box for me. And I cried because, it was a very special announcement. A lot of the kids back then, some didn't like me because I had learning disabilities. Believe it or not, there is hatred towards people with learning disabilities. But you had a lot that did help me out, that did like me. And it was an announcement. And I cried out of happiness and out of joy because, I really thought that I failed, But no, that wasn't the case whatsoever. This is more real than my high school one. I guarantee you guys that. So, moving on next is my sister's high school, report card. Now, we went to 2 different high schools, 2 different states. This was in 93 in 12th grade. I wish I knew what happened to that VHS tape of her graduation. Yes, I remember seeing it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it's at. She might have it, but, I doubt it. My sister with a lot of her achievements, man, she, you know, just getting fucked up on drugs and shit, just, you know, really escalated that worse. So, you know, you see a lot of her straight A student, you know, very straight A student. You know, the report cards back then in the 90s were like this small. You know, the report cards, again, me in high school and everything were like big sheets of paper that was completely unnecessary to be that big. But next is employed of the quarter. In other words, employee of the month reward for my uncle, who's, it's now been a year since he's passed on. This is from 95. I don't even think they even do employee of the months anymore, especially giving out awards. This was back in 95. Next is outstanding junior art student, which was my sister's back in 93. They don't do, again, they stopped doing this shit when I was in school. They would display your work, but heaven forbid if you, they didn't do competitions, they didn't do certificates for the best art. You just got a grade and that was it, right? And I'm glad I never went to an art college for this shit, because I'm gonna tell you guys what, one thing that I learned doing art, I used to, you know, back in the days in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, I used to go to a store called the Piggly Wigglies down here, and I used to, you know, me and Mom, you know, we would walk. I would go to the magazine aisle every time to get the new issue of the new Dragon Ball Z magazines, because inside them, you know, you would get free posters, right? There was an article in there one time talking about, you know, the artists that used to do that, the type of animation back then by hand. Believe it or not, their paychecks were not shit. They would start off from $5 paychecks to $20 paychecks at the most. So a lot of those people that worked for Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, WB, Jetix, Fox Kids back in the day, those who really did the old school type of animation art, their paychecks were not that good. But you know what? They enjoyed their jobs. You know, they really did. Especially when you finish art school and art college, a lot of your work, you know, you don't receive back. They ended up giving it to somebody else who will take credit for it and who's going to make money for it, while you're just, you know, giving your diploma and you're off on your way to go job hunt, if it were. Yeah. That happened to me in high school. You know, there's some art pictures that I never got back at all. Some ended up getting destroyed, which I'm cool with that. Because again, I went through fucking criticism. Goddamn. And I consider myself one of the best when it comes to art, if not the king of it, because of my own style and everything. Here is an academics achievement award certificate with my sister, and this is from 1984, during her school year. Yes, you know, I don't know if they don't really do these really as much anymore. You know, I probably will link another video that probably goes into something like this. Back then, you know, before I get into this, you know, I have a video called, you know, not all educational opportunities are equal, because they're not. You know, I did not grow up with the richest family with money. My mother's side of the family was broke and dirt poor, but we worked our asses off in school. My sister worked herself in school. And she has a lot of hard work and certificates and achievements that she earned. And today's, when I was in school, going in not just into middle school and high school, but I exposed something that, for those that were in school, if you always wonder to yourself, why do you always see the same kids every year on stage receiving certificates and awards and nobody knew? I will link that video, and I want you guys to listen to that video because it really exposes some shit. And let me tell you something, man. I was robbed, okay, for a lot of my achievements award just because I was in special ed classes and because I came from a broke family that had to get free schooling just to get by. Couldn't afford to pay for school a lot. So because that was on record, it's like, oh, this half-breed broke child who's in special ed, he doesn't need these awards. Hey, we need to give them to the same people we've been giving them to. Trust me, I want you guys to check out those 3 videos when I link them. This right here is from 2004, my 5th grade graduation flyer. Right there. Sadly, I would say a good majority of these kids that I'm looking at, you know, didn't go down with the best path in life, you know. Good majority of them will never get out of prison. Some are still doing time in jail. And others, sadly, you know, they are passed on now. You know, due to the choices they made. And, you know, I'm one of the lucky ones that made it out of the street life when it came to that shit. I really am. You know, and some of them, you know, just looking at, you know, I just never really gave a fuck about. You know, just a lot of the things I'm looking at for a lot of these achievements and their, you know, what they could have accomplished if they stayed on the right choice, the right path. It just didn't. For presenting of colors and pledging of allegiance. Oh yeah, this is what we were assigned to. So me and several other people, you know, we were assigned for handling the Pledge of Allegiance, the American flag, and the outro with the closings and everything. Yeah. Everybody was assigned to different jobs, if you were. And what their things were during everything and all that. Yeah. You know, I have a couple of things I definitely kept from that year. A sand rock from a special ed teacher and a Mulan door poster as well. That's made out of leather. And I can tell you it still holds up. And you can't buy those anymore these days either. This right here is... What is this? Final report progress for my sister back in high school, I do believe. Not sure what year. And back then, things, again, were typed out, but a lot of it definitely had to be underlined and written as well. Crazy. Now, teachers, you know, I don't, again, you know, for those that see this video that are still in school, I don't know if teachers still write notes to parents anymore. But I guarantee you, I had notes written. My sister had notes written. I got one right here from my sister, or no, my teacher, that was written to my mother. Right here. Notes wouldn't be this big, man. And sometimes they wouldn't write notes because by the time I was getting out of high school, you would use the phone at the teacher's desk. That was never a good thing. Never a good thing. And I can definitely, you know, testify to saying that that was never, ever a good thing. It reads, Dear Mrs. D. Pasquale, you know, that's my mother's maiden name. Miss Ida forgot to tell you that I did get your first note. Next week, I'll be writing her third report, and I'll write the other two. I tried to make something, but my copies are too... and the rest of this is kind of cut off. So I'll write the first two when I do her third. Your idea is a good one. Ida will be treasure that in years to come. Sorry, not writing to you. Isn't the weather beautiful? Yeah, none of my notes were that peaceful. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I was a bit of a fuck up in school. Yeah, shit. I was a straight A student, but I guarantee you, not all the damn time were my notes were that pleasantly well worded. A lot of them like, come get your fucking child. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Is what it is. Next is another one. Now, I don't know whose this is. It doesn't quite say. Oh, there we go. So this is my uncle's. From 77 to 78 in 6th grade. Wow. So, this is the front of it right here. Now, my mother, you know, she had to quit middle school. You know, she never got a chance to go to high school, you know. Back then, you know, yes, she was pregnant with my sister, but, you know, she did have to make sure her 3 brothers woke up, went to school. She had to help them with their homework. And she had to go out and work, you know, as well as her father. So, you know, my mother never got to, you know, really, you know, finish school. And sadly, you know, I don't know where she doesn't have any of her reports because, again, you know, it is what it is, I guess, you know. That's how a lot of them would look like there in the 70s. Right there. You know, I would like to see one of my mother's reports back then, but never did. You know, next is another one from my uncle as well. 3rd grade from 74 to 75. Mountain View School. There, so if I would have finished with Riverside like I did, you know, Riverside School, you know, back then, you know, believe it or not, again, I went to Riverside and I can tell you it was from elementary to middle school. Now it's just elementary. So, you know, my mother had to check in on a lot of this shit. Now, I don't know where my other uncle's reports are and stuff. You got teacher comments right here. Now, of course, my grandfather would have to take care of most of it when stuff came to. So, that's really, about it in terms of, what's here. Yes, there's others, but, I didn't want to, go through so much. But I will say this, I wish my mother just really wasn't a really messed up person, though. I would have really liked to look back at mine, but, it is what it is. And I wish, God, I really wish I would have had my shit from middle school, man, with those reports, boy, because I tell you what, man, some of that shit had the names of the kids in it, and I miss my first, man, like shit, drugs in the end ended up claiming her life. But one thing I'll show, my elementary year right here. This is 2002, 2003. Wow. My scores, man, are not the best. You can see why. I struggled. I suffered in school. I did. I struggled. I suffered in school. So much. What's this? Goal sheet. So what? Okay. Wow. Year 2000. Wow. Again, looking back at these, even them not being mine, is still, really fascinating to look at. And I'm glad that I got to share these guys with you. I'm sorry this video's long, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm out. Here's the science reward that I found of mine, and I remember this day. I forgot what my science project was, but I was part of a science class I wasn't supposed to be a part of. And there was a break from special ed classes for some reason. I forget what it was for. And, I ended up, getting this because I attended it even though I wasn't a student in this woman's class. I know she's not alive anymore like she was old. But, yeah.